Hi, and welcome back. Today we're not talking about business. Today we're going to talk about you. When I was in business, it was the hardest thing to do was just take a day off because I was living, eating, drinking my business. I was always thinking about it. It consumed me, as it should. A new entrepreneur should always be thinking about the next step, how to grow their business, making sure they're stable, how to stay solvent, how to live through your competition, and how to make it and survive on top. One thing I want to talk about that a lot of entrepreneurs miss, and it leads to early burnout, is taking time out for you. How do you recharge? With me, I would take 3 days here, 3 days there, 3 days here, 3 days there. Take a Friday off or a Monday off, usually whenever workload was slow. When I was by myself, and that was hard to do, but I did it anyway. I built a schedule around it. You just gotta do it. That's the main thing. When I had employees, it was a lot easier because I simply delegated the tasks. I had great people that were smarter than me all around me, and it worked out great. I could take a week off, 2 weeks off. A lot of times, I probably could have taken a month off because my people were that good. But back to you. What are you gonna do to actually recharge? Especially being in that first 5 years where things are so crucial. Take 3 days off. Take a 3-day weekend here, take a 3-day weekend there. If you're a family man, family woman, take a 3-day weekend with your family, take a 3-day weekend with your family, or even some time with your spouse. That's very important. But also keep this in mind. When you're that intense, you've got so many things going through your head, you gotta remember, it takes 3 days for most people to wind down from a high intensity job or being an entrepreneur to actually wind down to relax. So build time in your vacation to compensate for those 3 days. I know for one, it worked out for me just to add 3 days to a week-long schedule, just because it takes me that long, then I've got a week to enjoy whatever we're enjoying at that time. So remember, 3 days. And if you can't do a week, you're a young entrepreneur, you're working by yourself, build it in your schedule to take a 3 or 4 day weekend. You've got to do that. I have bought 3 businesses where the owners were simply burned out because they didn't take time off. And I got those businesses for a deal. Their customers were bailing right and left. They were just tired. You've got to stay energized. And what got me through 26 years of being an entrepreneur was just taking time to stay energized. For example, I like tinkering around the shop. This mess behind me, and what you can't see, is from all the summer projects I was working on. Some completed, some not, some still working on. But this has gotten out of control. And I enjoy getting this back together, getting it organized, and getting this whole place back into shape. I enjoy that. I recharge that. What recharges you? Don't forget, you've got to take time to recharge. And also, if you have any other questions, make sure to let me know. Otherwise, take time to recharge and have a great vacation. One other thing. The last video you saw me in this mess. But before I started working on this, I had a thought. Those of you that are married and are entrepreneurs, let me offer one thing, is listen to your spouse. I beg you to listen to your spouse. Now, your family dynamic is probably different than mine, and every family dynamic is different. But let me say one thing. A lot of times, guys like me, we need to come home from a high-intensity job, and we need about 30 minutes to decompress. That's fine. You got to agree with that with your spouse. Ladies, your brains work different than us guys, but you may or may not need that time to decompress. All to say is you've got to take time somehow to decompress. Sometimes it's the drive home. Sometimes it's taking 30 minutes. I took 30 minutes just to decompress. And then I was a new man. I was fully engaged at home. You got to agree with that with your spouse. What do you need to decompress if you're an entrepreneur? Also, let me say something and let it burn in real good. Always listen to your spouse. Always listen to your spouse. The worst thing you can do is when your spouse says, I feel like you're so disconnected, I don't feel like you're really here, you're off into another world. That's true. You're thinking about your business. But don't deflect it and don't come back saying, I'm doing all this for you. That's nonsense. You've got to listen to your spouse. And the one thing I would say, shut up and listen. 4 words. Shut up and listen. Listen to your spouse. It's not an attack on you. It's just saying how they feel. And if they feel like you're disconnected, you probably are. So you got to figure out a way to reconnect, disconnect from your business, reconnect with family, because family is important. Don't ever forget that. Find a way to stay connected to your family. Otherwise, close your business. And I mean that. Because family is most important. See you next time.